Hello everybody, welcome back to OP Podcast.
Episode 3 now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
No, it's not been that long.
It's been a week.
It's been a week because we're hitting the consistency we said we were going to do.
Yes, hopefully this year, 2024. Happy New Year everybody.
Yeah, we wish you all a Happy New Year, and we hope that this is going to be the year that you gain everything that you're wanting, that the things that you've put in place, the things that you're reflecting on, will accumulate and build up.
Yeah, and hopefully you are much less harder on yourselves as well, and just take it easy. Take it easy. Not that life is making it easy for us, but try your best.
It continues to be stressful.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so today we have an interesting topic which will actually give us a good insight to what our audience is like. So we're going to talk about parenting because we're parents. We are both 29 and we've been together almost 10 years in February. Woo woo!
Yeah, it'll be 10 years next month.
Yeah. Married 6 in August. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's coming up to 5.5 years.
Oh my gosh, we're pushing. But yeah, we've also got a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old. Oh my gosh, a lot of things happening. Happy New Year.
We've got a 3-nager.
Oh my goodness. So 3-nagers is basically when your toddler is the
3
boss.
going on 30. I can do everything myself.
I do it myself.
You can't do anything.
But he can do it himself, and don't you dare try to help. He gets frustrated because he can't do it. But
he gets frustrated if you help him.
But if you try to help, all hell just breaks loose. It's just like...
It's just like having a teenager 10 years early.
But then...
It's great.
It makes me feel like I was such a bitch during my teenage years.
Oh, we've got all that yet. Don't
sometimes
speak that into existence.
Sometimes when he looks at me, is the look he gives me is the same look I'm pretty sure I gave to my mum during my teenage years.
It's the same look you give me sometimes. So I feel sorry for your mum, but I feel sorry for us in 10 years' time.
Yeah. But anyway, he is... Yeah, we're going through it. Send help. What do you think?
Send help and well wishes. But no, I think at the moment we're all kind of a little bit stressed and distracted, I think, because he's going through a transition, because he's changing nurseries. And obviously for a young child that of that age, it's a lot to process because you're having to deal with a new routine in a new place with new people, with new faces, and you're not really old enough to have like the coping mechanisms in place consistently enough. So obviously he won't have mummy and daddy around to help get him through it. It's a case of, so we've got like the settling days where it's like just a case of filling out some bits of paperwork, and the next few days being a build up of it, like of the time he's spending there, being close by just in case anything happens, and then the following week, normal start, full routine, full day, dropping into the deep end essentially. And so if he doesn't settle into that quick enough, then it's going to impact him because he's going to continue to be nervous and kind of lash out really, and it's going to impact us because we're going to be worried, and it'll impact our work because we're going to have to ask for additional flexibility in terms of
do you know
working from home longer or more often. And just...
Speaking of that, just quickly talking about parenting, I find it really difficult. Not personally my workplace, current workplace.
I do.
But my current workplace, I haven't experienced their maternity stuff yet, but in terms of their understanding to do with childcare stuff, they're pretty understanding. They seem open. However, with my previous workplaces, oh my goodness, I don't understand why companies, or just in today's generation, it's almost like if you're in your 30s or even in your 40s, if you're just a parent of 1, 6, 20, and you work for somebody like a big company like the NHS or like, I don't know, anyone, it's so difficult. I don't understand bosses or companies who want you to work like you're not a parent. I get it. I do get professionalism. I do. However, I can't pretend like I'm the same as my non-child
colleagues.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when they employ somebody, they're using up a spot in that company for you. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't think it's massively fair, but like from their perspective, they can either hire somebody who doesn't have a child and they know that when they turn up, there's nothing distracting them, or they can hire somebody with 1, 6, 20 children, which will have a certain amount of distractions, a certain amount of responsibilities, and to be honest, a mind that won't ever fully be a part of the company because you have a family. And that's where I think it's unfair. I understand that point of view, but it's unfair to just assume that nobody's going to be thinking of their family while they're at work, especially mums.
It's exhausting being
because
a mum.
You gave birth to the child. Like it's your child.
Yeah.
Like I know as a dad, like it's our child too, but it's your child, your children, your little babies.
Oh, with also reason why. So we are basically the first out of our friendship group to be married and have a baby. And others are now getting engaged. Ooh, excitement.
People are slowly catching up. Emphasis on slowly, like we're 5 years married.
And we've all known each other roughly around the same time. But it's been incredible seeing them grow together.
It was really nice seeing them.
But anyway, back to the point I was trying to make. It's just very difficult when you're also in that position where you are the only person with a child in your friendship group. You're kind of, for me, for example, and I'm also the only person with a toddler in my workplace.
Yeah.
Like the only person
to be honest,
with a toddler.
I feel like it's slightly similar because you could talk to your friends about the things that you have going on with your child and they won't fully understand because they've never had to experience it. With your workplace, some of them may have had to experience it, but they're from, talking about your workplace specifically, they're from a different generation. So things are very different.
Yeah.
Like they all own their homes.
Yes.
They all had assistants.
They all have kids that have fled the nest.
Yeah, they all had help from family as well. And all of their children now have fled the nest. Like things are very different. Governments have changed. Things have been overthrown. All that kind of crap. And you're having to try and talk to them about your situation, hoping that they'll understand. And the key word there is hoping. Because unfortunately work is a massive part of all of our lives, for better or for worse.
Yeah. It's difficult.
It is difficult.
It's very difficult. But yeah, our three-nager is also very much three-naging.
He's three-naging.
He's three-naging. But yeah, if you're a parent, let us know how you're coping with or how you coped with the three-nager stage.
And what are your top tips?
Yeah, for managing that, and also how you finding the transition of working as a single individual, not a single individual, but as like a childless person, and making that transition. We are 3 years in now, basically, but we felt different each stage. Every stage felt different, and in the moment back then I thought, oh, this is hard, but then each time it gets harder but also easier. Do you get what I mean? Yes. In terms of like having to prep him for nursery or understanding what he wants or like, yes, we're very adamant and very headstrong in what we want, but we're also a bit more understanding and accepting of, okay, I have to wait a little bit, you know?
Yeah, just let him kind of do his thing a minute and work through it. But I do understand what you mean as much as I'm joking about it, because each phase, it's a different set of changes. And obviously your child continues to build month on month and year on year. And so it gets easier in the sense of you know how to deal with certain things because, you know, he's our child and, like, we can kind of get his personality and things like that. But the next stage is more like his development. Next month is like, oh, he's talking, so we need to help him through talking. Next month is potty training, so we need to go through loads of wet sheets and shorts and all that kind of stuff. The, you know, week after is going to be, you know, actually being able to ask for things and choose things and use the words that he's learned properly in like an actual conversation setting. So it's all building up from like building blocks. Like each block is hard to place, but it gets easier in the fact that we know what his strengths are and we know what his weaknesses are.
Yes. And he's good.
He is good for the most part. He is. No, I mean, like you said, he's three-aging.
Hard.
Definitely want to coin that term.
Yes.
But, you know, for the most part, he is a good boy.
He is.
He is a good boy.
He is. And I just want to talk about childcare and parenting and working as a parent at the moment. The difficulty of it is insane in this country at the very moment. Childcare costs way too much.
Childcare is very expensive. Childcare is a second rent.
It just feels like you're working and giving them your money. That's just what it feels like. And it just feels like we're stuck in a cycle.
Well, the crazy thing is, what it feels like is like you spend time away from your child to work to then pay somebody to look after your child.
Yes.
When you could just be staying at home looking after your child.
Yeah. But no, you have to work. But it's not even that. Having, you know, just to have enough at the end of the month, that's a great place. Not to give it all to childcare. It's just too much. It's a lot. And they always come back sick. They always give you viruses and bacteria and all sorts of diseases. And
oh, you remember
yes, the bug he came home with
the other week.
Yes.
Had us bedbound.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
With the bug he came home with. It was awful. We were all ill and had to then call in sick. I think it was like a week before Christmas, or a couple of days before Christmas actually.
It was in December.
Yeah. And it took us out. But while he's here with us, where we could barely look after him as well as ourselves.
Oh, he was fine after that.
We had to pay for the days that he weren't at nursery.
Yeah, that's how they get you as well.
It's insane. It's insane. And I just thought, what a steal. And then when we had that meeting that one time and they were like, oh, he loves Miss Rachel or somebody. I was thinking, I'm paying you so you can let him sit down and watch TV. What? When I could be doing that myself. But oh my goodness, guys, parenting in today's society is just, oh my gosh. It's a blessing, of course, a big, big, big blessing, which we're thankful for, because I love my little bundle of joy so much.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think anyone's questioning that. I think it's more the fact that it's hard to do.
Yeah.
With the tools that are available.
But I could hear someone saying, well, why don't you stop working then? But we have to work. You have to work to be able to provide and put food on a table and just to survive in today's day and age.
That brings it full circle back round to like talking about it, people at your workplace or any workplace really. If you try and talk to someone about it that's of the generation above you. You know, they were able to survive on one income. They were able to buy a house with one income. That's how much like you were able to do with just one person's working, which meant the other person was able to stay at home, to look after the children and to spend the time with them. You know, some of them still would have gone to nurseries and stuff, and that's fine. But the burden wasn't just like shared between us. Like one person could work to earn money for the family.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say, and yeah, one person could work and earn for the family while the other could stay home. But at the moment, even look at just our weekly shop, insane. People are struggling out there, and you know, it's just things are going up and up and up. Everything's going up. You know, childcare, they increased it like twice last year, and that's ridiculous in itself. But it's just the way the world is going, unfortunately. And I think companies or bosses just need to do a bit better, and the government needs to do a bit more better with supporting parents, because it's almost off-putting. I can see it being off-putting to some of our friends who are childless at the moment, who are, you know, we're all growing up, but not rushing them into doing it right now. But I can see it. They are stressing about it in the future,
well,
like the possibility.
The thing that they're thinking
comes.
of is getting everything sorted first, and that's fine. But you run the risk of, if things change, it will change your plans and push them back.
Oh, things are always changing, though. You know.
No, I know things are always changing, but if you've got a particular goal or end point in mind, like in terms of like, oh, I want to save £50,000, like fine, but then you've got to think of, okay, well the price of stuff is increasing, so that 50,000 in a couple of years will actually turn to like 55, 60, and then the fact that, you know, interest rates are so low, so anything that I'm accumulating won't actually work, or because I've had to fix the car, I've had to take some money out, like any big shift, any big change, anything would impact that timeline, like that end goal that you have, and extend it. That's what I mean.
Yeah, you are right. You're right. I can't fault that. But it's everybody's timeline.
No, it is everyone's timeline, and everyone wants to get to that end point in a different way.
Yeah.
Because everyone's priorities are different. People want to have the house before they get married because they want to have their home.
Yeah.
People want to get married before they move in because they believe in being like in unison before they live together.
Yeah.
People want to have children earlier because of health reasons. People want to have children later because they want to be like very financially secure. And in today's economy, I can fully appreciate why, because if we're having to both work full time in order to support our rent, our childcare and everything else, I can see why somebody on the outside who doesn't have that yet would want to make sure they're in a position to be able to handle that.
I see what you mean. And it's difficult for them as well. Everybody's struggling in their own ways with that, or where they're at on their timeline, you know, journey. And we just wish everybody the best as well. But when the time comes for parenting, or for us that are going through it right now, oh my God, send help. But with all that being said, there was a little rant going on about parenting and what it's like, and childcare costs in the UK, be juggling all those responsibilities in this current economy in the UK, and it just feels like we're chasing our tail. It's exhausting, and you know, as we were saying, everybody's timeline is different, but when that timeline does come eventually for everybody in terms of childcare, it's got us in a chokehold. It's difficult. Send help. But another thing I wanted to touch on just briefly before we leave was that I saw this post on Instagram, or even myself, I wrote it in my journal, and I was talking about how I just would want nothing more than to be present and to be able to spend time with him, you know, or like to be able to spend time with my children, like how maybe our grandmothers got to, but also having the responsibility or the job opportunities and the income and the freedom that I have now.
You want everything.
But then now require a lot of work, which we're working towards. But it's just one can dream, and I know it's going to come one day. It's going to come one day. But with all that being said, have you got anything else to add you would like to touch upon?
What with parenting and childcare?
Yeah.
It's just making sure that whatever you're doing, it's making sure that you put the child first. Because that's the one thing that we've been worrying about this whole time. I mean, the whole reason why he's transitioning is because we weren't getting on with the previous nursery. Like, sure, they were like nice enough to your face, but I think the procedures and things in place,
the services they provide, basically the service was not up to.
It wasn't what you would expect from someone that was taking care of your child.
Yeah.
And having like procedures and written like reports in place at all. It all seemed very loosey-goosey, basically. Like, I can't think of a better way to put it, really, but it all seemed very like unofficial, really.
And it was just very difficult with communication and stuff like that. And I think he himself did not look happy in himself, and I think he's had maybe a little bit of a hard time there. But with all that being said, we did what was best for him. And, you know, it's also difficult finding a good childcare because you have to try and, you know, the deposits and stuff like that. And I do get it. It's a business. It is a business. You know, get your money. Sure.
It is a bit, and not only that, but they're going to put their best face on in order to attract you because they want that money. But at the end of the day, there's lots of nurseries and childcare options, but that doesn't mean that every one of them is a good option.
Yeah.
Which is really why it's difficult having childcare commitments as full-time working parents, because you don't have a huge amount of time to look stuff up, and you don't have a huge amount of time to be going to like open days, visiting days, talking, and
or like carol singing activities. You know, when you miss it, they just isolate your child for no damn reason.
Oh yeah, you weren't here, so we just stuck him in the back room.
Yeah, while his mates sang.
So why did we bother
It's absolutely
teaching him the song?
Absolutely ridiculous. But it's difficult to find a good one, and there's a lot of trial and test.
Trial and error.
Trial and error. It's a lot of trial and error, and I just think it's just the journey we're on at the moment. But anyway, you guys, it is now 12:30 and we've both got to get up in 5.5 hours. Happy New Year. Happy 2024.
And wishing you the best for the whole rest of the year.
Whole rest of the year. I know last year we gave some mambo jumbo stuff, but this year we are actually going to speak it into fruition. And also I was thinking about reading a little part of my 2023 goals, because last year I mentioned that I started reflecting and journaling, and I came across a little page which was my goals for 2023.
This time last year.
So I read them, and some of them I had achieved, and it's really good to actually write stuff down. But
I think journaling is important, and I think that can be a separate topic.
We can have that conversation next time. Yeah. Actually, that's a good topic to add on to journaling and how it's helped me. But if you would like to hear a little bit about, just a little chapter, not a chapter, like a little paragraph that I wrote, then let us know. Anyway, have a good week. God bless you all.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.